I think that's fascinating, and I wonder if we could go back to your grandfather for a moment. As far as you know, what made him interested enough to create something? And can you tell us a bit of the history of what became the thing in the basement that then became Tidewave?
Yeah, he was an electrical engineer or computer engineer, and he worked at a research institute in Bergen, in Norway. And he got an assignment where he worked to develop a soft grip tool for the oil sector, and an oil company. And then because this tool was supposed to handle very sensitive objects, they used air muscle technology. And he got together with a doctor or physical therapist at the hospital in Bergen, and they had many conversations, and then they decided that maybe they can try, because it's air muscles, right? They can try and turn around the technology and then multiply, and then put it in a bed, and then so the first prototype was actually arms, air arms muscles that were making the curving and the turning. So his latest prototype looked more like ours, where he had it looks more like a mattress. So he's had a huge development of his own back when he was doing it in the end of the 80s and beginning of the 90s, before we were born. So that's when it started with the hospital, and then he developed it primarily by himself, I think, and he had some partners with the actual building of the mattress and the prototypes. And he got to test the prototypes on the hospital and different rehabilitation homes. So he was mostly interested in the prevention of pressure sores. And then he saw with the patients who were using it that had neurological diseases, they got better movement. So he had a long journey there, and then once he was done testing and getting ready for production, he had his accident in 2008. Well, he was on his way to a meeting about the mattress, and then he forgot some documents in his house, and it was the end of November, and he had a long stairs down to his house, and then he slipped on the stairs and banged his head, and then he died momentarily there. So then the idea just everything stops. There was no sickness, no time where he could kind of plan to give it, so it was just stop. So then my mom, who is an only child, got everything, the whole house and the idea, and she's also a physical therapist. So she saw, and she had heard so much about it, and saw the value in it, so she took care of everythh and took it back to the house.
So it wasn't just thrown, it was actually sort of curated.
Yeah. So she took it back, and then it's actually her who started the company again a few years later, just to try and see if she could do something about it, because she didn't want to just throw it away or keep it in the basement. So she's the one who, together with the company, came up with the name Tidewave, because she made a new company. And she got to make the logo. So it's been 3 generations.
Didn't realize
just
that.
like the traditional, the bakeries and clocks and jewelry. But here it's a tech company and health tech company. It's been 3 generations, a little bit. But then she's a professor at the university as well. So she had that job. We were much younger. We were 3 kids. So then it stopped up with her. And then a few years later, we moved back to Stavanger and started our master's degree. And then
you were looking for something new.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it's been it's a very long timeline of different people being involved and trying to.
Yeah.
So we're hoping now that this will be the last generation of Tidewave, and that they can